House Speaker Nancy Pelosi says she's for comprehensive immigration reform and border security. But a border wall, well, that's apparently immoral.
The inference that you draw from a wall is that's the only way to do that. That actually is an immorality. It builds walls in people's minds about who should come here and the rest. It's a very sad thing that he's doing to instill that kind of fear of newcomers to our country.
Joining us now to react, Fox News religion contributor Father Jonathan Morris and Robert Jeffress is the senior pastor at First Baptist Dallas and a Fox News contributor. Pastor Jeffress, what do you make of this comment by Pelosi that somehow walls are immoral?
Well, it's absolutely absurd. You know, the Bible teaches that the primary responsibility of government is to maintain order and keep its citizens safe. And there's nothing wrong with using a wall to do that. I remind people that God used a wall. He told Nehemiah to build a wall around Jerusalem to keep citizens safe. The Bible says even heaven itself is going to have a wall around it. Not everybody's going to be allowed in. So if walls are immoral, then God is immoral. There's nothing immoral about a wall, but what is immoral is for Democrats, for political reasons, to block this president from fulfilling his God-given responsibility to keep our country safe. And it's certainly immoral for Democrats to support sanctuary cities, which are nothing but havens of lawlessness and are directly responsible for the death of police officer Ron Singh and many others. And I think instead of vilifying and demonizing President Trump, we ought to thank God every day we have a president like Donald Trump who takes his oath of office seriously and is willing to do whatever it takes to keep this country safe.
You know, Father Jonathan, we have human trafficking and drug trafficking at the border. You have sexual assault happening. You have children dying because it's being incentivized for this illegal immigration to occur and for people to trek through these horrendous conditions. Isn't it immoral to ignore all of that and not enforce border security? Sure.
Let me start by saying I think what's especially hard for us to digest from what Nancy Pelosi, Speaker Pelosi said, is that, you know, she's talking about what is immoral, what is unethical, and at the same time, she has been the biggest promoter of even late-term abortion, partial birth abortion, and so we say, hold on, if you're going to talk about one thing being immoral, let's talk about what the basis of our morality is. That's the first thing. But to answer your question, Jedediah, I think we have to say that just like Pastor Jeffress says, a government has the responsibility, the obligation to keep its people safe. Now we have to figure out what's the most effective way to do it. And I don't think we should be talking about a wall that goes from the Pacific to the Atlantic coast. And I think what happened at the beginning of President Trump's campaign, he was using that type of language. I think we can all agree right now that what is immoral is our system of immigration currently, in which we say we're going to keep an unsecure border, we're going to allow people to come over, we're going to give them jobs, but they're going to get low wages and they're going to be second-class citizens. That is immoral right now. And so, yes, we do need some barrier in some parts of our southern border, no doubt. But what we need right now are real statesmen and stateswomen to come and say we're going to leave partisan politics aside and really work together in those things that really they are not very far apart. Everybody knows there needs to be some barrier in some parts of the southern border, and that we need other things, technology, et cetera, and then a total immigration really reform and making sure that the situation right now gets rectified.
Pastor Jeffress, just final thoughts on the left co-opting religion recently and using that to suggest that these policies are unchristian, anti-Christian. What do you make of that?
You know, the left usually has no use for the Bible or its teachings, except when they want to pervert those teachings for their agenda. And look, I think my friend Father Jonathan and I both agree that we ought to be compassionate to those in need. And America is the most compassionate nation in the earth to those who come into our country legally. You know, if somebody knocks on your door with a legitimate need, Jedediah, I know you well enough to know you're going to try to meet that need. But if they knock down your door and come into your home uninvited, you're not going to be thinking about meeting their needs. You're going to want to get them out of your house. And so I think our country's doing the right thing to show compassion to those who enter this country legally, and they shouldn't be demonized, our government officials, for trying to protect our citizens.
Well, thank you both so much. Really appreciate your perspective as this border fight continues. Appreciate it.